one more thing to try here.
What's up, fuckers?
Who's that?
Oh, sorry, no cussing on the YouTubes.
Oh, great. We're going to get banned already.
Sorry.
It was a nice 2 minutes.
Damn it. Can't take me nowhere.
Anyway.
I'm headed out top.
So I'm going to mute you guys for a minute just to kill that shit in the background. I'll come back later and figure out how to turn that back on. But like I said, if you read that long post about what we're wanting to do and what we're trying to do is make it super easy so that anybody with a phone could jump on and do a Friday Night Losers Club, Saturday night, whatever. We got a lot of really cool projects on the board now, so I've been kind of waiting to do this till we had a bunch of neat shit to show off. So if you read that post, I'll stop here. If not, there's a post pinned in chit-chat about kind of what the whole idea about the whole thing is. So like I said, tonight's kind of a guinea pig thing. Obviously, now that I moved all my stuff out to the shop, it's not working as well. It's also because one person trying to do the broadcast and do the show, I guess. Whereas if, say, somebody else, if one of you guys was doing, Eric, if you were doing, showing off your rig back there and you were using your phone, that audio would be totally cut out. We wouldn't get that feedback like that because I'd be running it from here and you would just have the sound coming from yours. So the issue is just because I have two devices here. So I don't think that'll be a problem in the future, but it should be nice going ahead. And yeah, there's a oh yeah, there's shits and giggles. There's a major delay on the YouTube. So sorry if I don't catch you guys fast enough. I'll have to figure out how to speed up those settings. But so yeah, the idea is just kind of show shit off, show what you got, and show your project. So I'll just kind of start with mine. I don't have a whole lot of stuff to cover. Like I said, this one's just kind of flying by the seat of our pants here. With my shop here, I'm just outside. It's about an hour west of St. Louis. All that shit's not normally there. That's where my wife, she does a lot of laser, like acrylic, and makes a lot of signs and shit like that. She didn't have any stuff out there, but that's her side over there. Table that's come in incredibly handy. CNC plasma table. Trying to make stuff for this rig because I didn't realize how difficult it was going to be to get stuff for it when I bought it. But what it is, it's a 1955 Mercedes Unimog, a 404. So it's those early models there. Some of you guys probably seen it on the site, or maybe I think Eric saw it at King of the Hammers. The previous owner fabbed up some kind of chopped, stretched convertible thing, which is pretty cool if you're like under 5 foot, because I could barely get in there and not hit my head. Again, if somebody in the chats in the Google Meet's trying to say something, I guess like do the little hand raise thing, I'll be able to see it and go back to the audio. I don't know if you have any questions. You can probably read about most of this shit on the board anyway. But so I wanted a different cab. I didn't like that short thing. These ones here came off of fire trucks back in the day. So it's pretty cool. But it is really short still. These military vehicles used to have these tiny little jump seats in here that were, I couldn't see sitting on the trail very long, not to mention being very safe, trying to do any major trails. So cut it, stretched it about 16 inches there, and I'll be able to fit some seats in there now. But more shop stuff, stickers, mandatory stickers. So this Unimog it's a pretty unique one. It was rare at the time. They only made about 1,200 of these of this particular model because it was actually used for an airport tug, is what they were. So they're shorter. It's a lot shorter than most. It's got the wheelbase of a JKU basically. It'll be a little taller though. So when everybody knows why Unimogs were popular for so long, for the portals there. Nothing too fancy to show off there. I guess the only major upgrades I got going for that, I was out at King of the Hammers and hooked up with 74 weld The major weak spot on these things are these boxes here, these portal boxes. They're all cast and they crack easily on off-camber situations. So 74 Weld started making just the new boxes. So no gears, no anything fancy that goes with it. You just replace the box and it makes them just insanely stronger. You can also got the bracket there to convert it to disc brakes. So I got calipers back there. This also, it does require you to change out the pretty, well, it's not pretty penny. What was that on? I bet you can guess whose rig that came off of, since those are copper. I think it was Pretty Penny who had the 404 portals on there. I'm not 100%, but that's not too hard to guess who that came from. Well, yeah, just cut it, stretched it. These things come stock with a 80 horsepower gas engine in them. So they're basically all gearing. You can drop in. This is a Mercedes diesel 5-cylinder. What they do with some of the stuff I put on there, I'm hoping that it jumps it up to about 200 horsepower. So, um, that makes me ready for the 4400 class, basically. But I got this pump is from Denmark. The guy makes these things, these mechanical pumps for these things, and that's where the bulk of all the extra power is going to come from there. So that was a nice add-on. There's a guy who makes the serpentine belt conversion kit. So the normal pulleys on this thing stick out, at least like 4 more inches. So that sucks it in real nice. Going to make this bracket to pull the alternator up here, and I still had to cut the firewall and move it over quite a bit to be able to fit this in there, because it is much bigger, especially with that mechanical pump back there. Did get it is a bigger turbo. It's still a cute, tiny little thing, but it is bigger. Intercooler water up there. Added a power steering. That's going to be for the hydro, I'm sorry. And then you can kind of see how much foot space I lost in here. This line here was about over to there. Yeah, so that's probably about 4 or 5 inches it was cut out. So I had to get different pedals to come in there, and luckily these Willwood sells this nice compact system right there. There's normally a big ass oil canister here. It's huge, like a 2-liter soda, huge. So I got a relocation kit, just an oil temp bypass right there, so it keeps recirculating in the engine until it warms up. Then it'll go back to the cooler. I don't know if you've seen inside these things, but they're all, like I said, it's like a tractor. So there's a shitload of gears, shitload of levers in here, shifting, brakes, uh, differentials, uh, PTO. That's granny low gears, and then the other one there is forward and reverse. So it's probably not the smoothest thing to be flying around in, but hopefully fun. And I just put this cab on here. The one problem I do have with this shop, we didn't build this shop, but it was here at the house, is how low it is. So getting this cab on and off is a bitch. I mean, not only is it heavy, but it takes 1 or 2 guys to get it on there. So every time I want to test fit and see what's gonna, I don't know, what I got to cut, what I got to move, it's a real pain in the ass. And I threw it on the other night to test some of the stuff I was framing out in the back there, and I didn't think about what a pain in the ass it was going to be to show this video. But yeah, it's kind of neat. So that's the PTO. Obviously, those are kind of a rare thing. They don't have those on very many. You can kind of see back there, maybe if I can get my finger in there, converting it to a hydraulic clutch too. So, and then running the oil lines back and everything for that. I think there was a big conversation on the forum before about if these are torque tubes or not, and that's let me move my radiator out of the way. Yeah, so yeah, torque tube all the way up, and they just go all the way up in there. It's basically one solid axle that goes all the way up to there, and that's where the joint is up there. So I just got these in earlier this week. One other thing that's kind of neat about the Unimog, and something you have to keep in mind, is well, the frame's heavy as shit, but it's also made out of spring steel, so it's designed to flex a lot. These things were made to haul heavy loads up mountains, basically. So um, there's some neat pictures online of these things with just loaded up with bricks, just as an example, big building block bricks, and just carting them right up the mountain, flexing the frame and the drivetrain and everything. The drivetrain is this is a pivoting joint right here. So the drivetrain, the transfer case, transmission, all that stuff is all one piece right here. Bell housing, and then the motor's up there. But everything pivots. It's attached here in the rear, and that's it. Just those two bolts back there. And then up here is something I had to kind of rebuild with the existing parts. There's just this one motor mount up front, and you can see how that hangs down and it kind of swings in between that A-frame there. So that the drivetrain can move and pivot between the frame, or the frame can twist around it. So all that just to say, I just got these in to finally start building the bed out. These are the mounts that go on here, and I think because this was again the tug, it was a little different with these. I'm gonna have to flip these around or come up with some other way to mount these, because the bolt holes don't actually line up like they do on normal 404s. But what it's kind of a neat bed design. What this does is this one goes here, this one will go in the back. Somebody cut my mounts off on that. It'll go in the back, and then there'll be a solid one that goes across here. So just a solid beam across there. And then there's joints that go in here, and it's, for ease of explanation, a big triangle kind of that goes in here. And what it does is on the top of that triangle, where the bed mounts on top of, you basically have like a torque tube that connects the front and the rear. And what that does is it allows the frame to twist and move, but keeps the bed flat. So none of your shit goes flying off of it. So finally scored a set of those. Some of the only other major parts I'm looking for. I do want to. I'm going to convert this to rear steer as well. It's kind of neat what the Germans did with their axle housings. They made them pretty universal, so the housing and everything is all the same. All you have to do is unbolt these outers here and pull that out and pull the shafts out. And then if you have another set of knuckles and then the axle shaft, you just plop those on and you got rear steer basically. So pretty much a bolt-on type thing. Should be pretty easy. The hard part is finding these knuckles, because they're getting kind of rare and people are hanging on to them. That's kind of it. Got the doors, all those boxes. This cab was completely like mint assembled till I took it apart and had it sandblasted. So I got all the parts up there, all the rest of the little parts to go in there, from doorknobs to the interior fabric, all that stuff. I'll have to figure out how to get somebody to stretch that, but still got a little bit of body work to do. This started off as I brought it home from Hammers, and I had converted it to propane. It ran fairly good. I noticed there was a little water in the engine oil. So I was just gonna fix that real quick, and then had too many beers one night, and next thing you know, I got the whole body off, all torn apart to shit, and now I'm years behind. I don't know if anybody that's ever done that before. So, but I'll be cutting out those back windows for more visibility. Uh, Oil reservoirs, overflow, all basic stuff. Nothing too unique. Like I said, about the coolest thing about these is probably the portals and the way they flex and stuff like that. Um, Other cool things that may not be as cool if you're not a Unimog kind of guy, but these I've searched for these manifolds for at least a good year and a half to trying to find this one They only made them for about half a year, and they're the largest ones. If you jump on my build on right there, there's a good little story about how Mercedes made the sports car with this 617 motor, and they used those manifolds, and they broke just speed records like crazy with it. Um, the only thing different that they had on theirs, they had a different cam in theirs, and for the life of me, I can't find the specs for it anywhere online. This intake, which is kind of hard to see, that's not the intake that they used. It was a slightly different version of that. And what it did is it came out way out here. So I would have had to cut this dog housing, this dog house up. And I didn't really want to do that. Luckily, I found this manifold here. There's a model. They still build these 617s, or they did up until like the 90s. This version is from a 90s cargo van that they made in Europe. So it would just use to haul stuff around. So it's very similar. I spend a lot of time on German eBay trying to find shit. So they're very similar, and this one comes up more as opposed to out. So I got lucky there and was able to squeeze that in there. Everything's barely squeezed in there. Actually, the cab that looks well, it looks a little tighter than it is. The cab's sitting a hair to the right. I don't have it actually bolted down. It's just sitting on there right now, but there's a little more room there. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else to do here. I'm trying to so this was where the stock intake was, and there was a big oil bath on here is what they did is how they clean the air on these things. They didn't have an air filter. So I cut the whole oil bath off that took this whole area up. And I'm probably going to find some way to put an air filter on there and get it over there. I don't know that I want to put a snorkel on it as high as these things sit all anyway. The tentative plan is I found some neat places online that sell t-shirt cannons. So I think it'd be pretty cool to go to King of the Hammers, flip the lid open and start shooting t-shirts at people. I mean, poor people. But I don't think I have a ton else. Not much on this side over here. I did have to make
Dude, you can build
again.
a
This is where
t-shirt
that
cannon for
table,
like
that cutting table came in
85
handy.
bucks.
I was able to 3D scan this side of the transmission here and make these exhaust hangers here, because that exhaust, obviously it didn't do that with the factory exhaust. It was completely different. So had to bend that up and figure out how to shoehorn that all in there. These 617s are notorious for putting too much oil pressure on the turbo, especially this newer turbo. So got a oil pressure regulator there. I still need to get it hooked back into the oil pan there. It's just kind of cut a bunch of extra slack. Probably too many beers. I got too tired that night. Lots of stuff to do. It's fun. Like any project, it makes me wish I had some kind of Jeep or something else to play with so I could keep tinkering with this, because now I find myself starting to cut corners and try and rush faster and do shit. I don't know what else I got. What, kind of one of the perks of having the site is I don't know if you guys follow the where did I go? The Snail Trail podcast. Those are the Toyota boys. But they had a good buddy that was a gear wrench representative. He sold gear wrench stuff, and reached out to him and traded him a bunch of advertising on the site. So a couple years ago, you probably saw gear wrench all over the site for 6 months or so. But they hooked me up with a ton of stuff in exchange for advertising. So that was probably one of the coolest perks I've got from the site so far. So probably could use a whole nother one of these, because these bottom drawers are just full of all kinds of crap they sent to, like gobs and gobs and gobs of stuff. So it's got perks. Not that thing I didn't think I'd use nearly as much. I don't right now since I got this thing sitting on the ground, but it was nice to fly under there real easy when it was on wheels. But I might pause for a minute here and go back and see, unmute so I can hear you guys. That was a nice trade. Sorry, just looking at the chat and shit like that. Water and oil, yes, I should drive it more. What's that?
You have us unmuted now?
I got you unmuted. I just did it so it didn't echo. I don't know why it's not coming through my phone. So
no problem. I was just laughing at all the gear end shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was I don't care what the name is. It works good. So no, they definitely hooked me up. That guy hooked me up and sent me like 1 or 2 ads, and then I think he left to go someplace else. And I think the rest of the people were like, we don't know what this deal was. But I left the ads running on there for a long time. So
do you have a room full of PRP seats and evolution saws and Baja design lines too?
Yeah, no, I don't have any of that. I got none of that.
Well, we can all wish.
There's more members that have extra PRP seats at their house than what I have.
So, dude, I got you on the freaking t-shirt cannon.
What's that?
$80 on Amazon. It's a bead blaster, but you could hook a CO2 canister up to it and then just adapt it to 4-inch and launch freaking t-shirts out of it.
Yeah, that would be awesome. There's a guy that makes they're kind of expensive, but he makes these replica military guns, like just all the big fucking guns that are on all the Humvees and all that stuff. And I've watched a bunch of his YouTube videos. I forget what his name is. You can probably find him pretty easy if you look up replica military gunner. But I thought about having him make one.
That'd be cool.
That would be. You gotta have something up there. There, at least it's got to be able to pop open.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's my other plan with that is, since I've never done body work before, so I thought I'd take a stab at it. This it probably looks better on camera than what it is. It's not that great, especially the curve on the top on the other side. So my plan and my excuse for the t-shirt cannon was to is that echoing real bad for you guys?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Was to do to actually kind of build an exoskeleton roll cage here and put 2 things up the side, maybe a little ladder. Might have my little ladder to get up there. So hide the body work and give me like a little platform to sit on up there, because I don't have the stripper pole anymore. I mean the flagpole. I don't know if you guys saw that on the.
That's coming back, right? That's coming back.
It needs to. You know what? I could put on the bed. It might be better. For any of those that haven't looked at the original build of this thing. So this thing lived outside of Vegas for about 8 years, but before that, it was owned by somebody that owned a bunch of strip clubs in Vegas. So the reason the cab was short, because that whole roof rack there was this this big ass heavy pole here, and so it's basically a stripper pole. If you look at some of the pictures, the early build pictures, I just put this big ass flag on it instead. Wife's like, "What's that for?" I'm like, "It's a flagpole, I swear."
Flag. Dude, there's a flag on it.
But yeah, I could probably still stick that in the bed. So yeah, I think I talked about some things, see how well this brainstorming thing works. A couple of the issues I have that I've been noodling on for a long time. Like I said, the frame flexes and the body's designed to flex on top of it. So I'm trying to figure out how to build a cage safely to go on there. I've almost just resorted to it's going to have to be an exo around the body itself and just be designed to break or fall off. You start welding it to the frame, and I don't know my steels well enough, but everything I've read online says you can't weld to spring steel and have it be any kind of reliable.
You
it starts making it a little too fragile.
But you would have to do a lot of preheat, and you would have to probably go with like a chromoly or something.
Yeah.
And do some heat treatment, and that would be a lot. At least from my point of view, I would say there's probably 2 paths you could do. And one would be to do an exo cage to where you sandwich plate to the inside and basically make the cab like a breakaway, to where you have like a floating seat platform that's bolted sandwiched through the cab to the exo cage that supports the seats, or
Right.
you drill out and you add some springs top and bottom to where everything can basically float with the cab.
Right. So I'll show you. The cab only mounts in 3 spots. So one of these on each side, and then there's a pivot pin in the front, and that's it. That's all there is for mounting the cab. So I was kind of thinking of kind of like what you said, just taking these 2 tubes around, bring them right underneath, and using that to mount the seats on. So that would be, here's my PRP seat over here. That's my mock PRP seat. But it but that sits about right here ish, and that would definitely be a good head protector in a case of a roll. Not so much, coming in from the front, so I have to bring a hoop out front. About that there, and to keep it from welding to the frame, I'm gonna use my old man mat. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie, I fucking love this thing. Getting old's a bitch. But doing some kind of either sandwiching it in there or welding onto the back side of that, and then having the main part come down here and around. And I think what I would probably do is, since this is the one solid connector between the 2 frame rails, I think what I would do, like, I don't see myself getting super crazy with this, especially the most time being in Missouri. And I don't even know, like, I can't find anything online that says how much weight it actually takes to make the spring steel flex. All the pictures I've seen have a massive brick load of some kind of shit in the back. So I don't even know if I do need to worry about it, but they're designed to do that, so I'd like to keep it. So I think what I may do is put something like a connecting tube between here that could be disconnected if I needed to. Like if I was just trying to show off on like an RTI ramp or something silly like that. I'd say like 90% of the time it would be there for support, and just disconnect it for goof off reasons. But that's all I got. It's kind of a tricky thing to figure out how to, with this thing only hard mounting in 2 spots and then twisting in the front.
So I have heard of like 2 schools of thoughts when it comes to roll cages.
Heard of what? Sorry.
And 2 schools of thoughts when it comes to roll cages. So the first is the traditional way is, your roll cage mounts to the frame, your body's mounted to the frame, your seats are mounted to the body, and everything stays as one, ideally, as you roll over and stuff happens. But I've seen like YouTube guys do it, so I don't know how legit this is. I'm sure if you put it on the board, you'll get 100 different answers. But the other school of thought is you have the cage inside the cab, you mount the seats to the cage, and then that's a separate entity that keeps you attached to the cage. And if you're attached to the cage, you're safe.
Yeah, I would like to
I
do
agree.
that. I'd much prefer to have it on the inside. And that's kind of why I haven't completely, oh, I'm sitting here pointing and you're looking at me. I haven't completely closed that off yet in case I need to get some stuff up in there. Again, my only 2 reasons for wanting something on the outside, and maybe I could just do it in the back and do the rest on the inside, is to hide my body work
You could
and to maybe have a seat
you
on
could
top.
potentially do it as like an exo cage, and then I think it was Joshua was saying it. Sandwich plates and then tie your seats into it, and then the cab, the cage, and the seats are all like a detachable, safety unit.
Right.
That wouldn't be bad.
So you watch any of these truck races and all that shit they do over there in Europe? All the guys at the Unimogs, they all have big exo cages on them. And I don't like the looks of them with an exo cage. So that's my major drawback. Things like it makes XJs look better.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just teasing. So, some vehicles look much better with exos than others. Unless I had like a roller only because I'm picky. If I had a roller to completely match some of these angles, I might like it a little better. But I don't know, something I'm noodling on. It's got me thinking how to put on the website a easy, some kind of picture you can put on there and everybody can sit there and sketch and fuck around with. Not for
I
me, but just in general.
I haven't deep dived into it yet, but I'm pretty sure I've seen like 4600 cars kind of do it, but like a hybrid exo cage to roll cage. So you could have your ladder section on that back half that you added, and then basically sandwich plates that go into the rest of it being an interior
Right.
cage.
Yeah, that's probably what it'd have to be something like that for, especially for in here, so I have a little bit of height on the seats and they're not quite sitting on the ground.
Yeah.
It I don't know how. I guess the German engineers basically just said fuck the military, because these seats sat all the way down here and the front of them came up to here, which gives you this, it's like a raised floorboard on this side. So you can see on that side, it's actually got a footwell to put your feet down. This side, they're just like, fuck you, you're gonna be uncomfortable. So
Yeah, I
I'm
didn't
trying to
That's
realize
keep
just
this
this
was.
one
military
back a
vehicles.
little.
That's crazy.
Dude, I've had a 5-ton, I've had a deuce and a half. They're just not comfortable.
Yeah.
They're they're disposable battle units. That's what they're designed for.
Yeah, that makes sense. I wanted to I was hoping initially that I could grab a copy or grab another body and find some way to take that floorboard and put it on this side. But after looking at it, there's so much shit on this side, it just wouldn't work. So that person's just gonna have to maybe sit back a hair further and be able to stretch your legs out. I'm trying to think, when I was at King of the Hammers with the last one I had, um, one of the guys at our camp wanted to jump in. He's like, "Oh shit, I just want to ride in it. Just drive me around." The dude was like 6'5", and by the time he finally got in there, he was too tired and wanted to get out. It was tight. So, other thing I'm thinking about doing, only for kind of coolness, I think, if I have room for the plumbing. The reason I put all this belt system on here and sucked everything back is because I want to put these two mounts here is where the irradiator originally went. They went all the way down there up to here. It was just a more of a tall, skinny thing. I want to put the winch in there, and then there's move this bar or something and find and then bring it out the front there. Put the fair lead right there. This PTO, uh, I don't plan on really doing anything with it. It's just one of those rare things that might be cool. It is cool. I think I was going to use that to kind of power the not this end, but something off the back end, the ass end of it, to run a compressor to charge an air tank for the
Blender.
t-shirt cannon and the blender. True. That would be badass. Of course, that's going to be the slowest blending machine ever.
Yeah, but it'll be able to blend anything.
Yeah.
I ain't got time for that. So yeah, this radiator would fit right there pretty good. If I have room for plumbing to get it to the back, I'd like to put it back under here just to get it out of the way. And I think I posted on the forum before, but let me get down on this level here. You can kind of see how low these mounts are still. So there's quite a bit of space. If you ever see a picture of one of these things completely together, there's a lot of space between the frame and the bottom of the bed. So the oil cooler, which is why I have these lines running back here, I was going to put a little protective radiator and fan right here, at least for that. Probably the hydro, and I would like to put this back here too, down some way, but then you start getting kind of risky getting all that out there. I did score some cool protective stainless steel mesh. I got a few of these pieces picked up from a scrap place to kind of put on the underneath of those to protect them. At least the smaller radiators for like transmission, and let's see, I'm gonna need one for the transmission, the motor oil, the intercooler. So I'll have several little radiators under there.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Come back over here so I can hear you guys. Yeah, I don't have much else. Oh, I was talking to God damn it, what's his name? I just sat there and had lunch with him and King of the Hammers. From Radio Dynamics. He's a vendor on the site. I can't think of his first name right now. Trying to think about how to put the hydro, the rams on here. I'd like to not have it in the front. And he was making a pretty good case for not having a double-ended ram. Like he sounds like he's kind of trying to push single-ended again, which would be nice because on this one, the previous owner put assist on here, hydraulic assist. So it was kind of set up for a single-ended one. Probably can't see it that well. So there was a mount there that came over to here. That would be ideal. He gave me 5 or 6 other reasons to do that. I think that might be, if we can get him on one of these things, get this cab off in proper lighting, it'd be kind of neat to, that's one of those things I'd like to do with this show or whatever this turns into, to have people like that on here making those cases why he said that single-ended is actually better than the double. Not sure if he just was talking about my case or in general, but he had some pretty strong points for it. Maybe I'll see if I can get him on here for one of these.
Yeah, that'd be
Speaking of,
interesting.
I don't know if you guys are on, how many of you guys are on social media? If you're not following him, you should. He posts a lot of cool shit about the products he makes. The guy's an engineer by trade. Let's say fluid dynamics, maybe. I forget what his degree is, but the products he's making are badass, and he's in all kinds of trophy trucks and shit like that. One of the trophy trucks, he made a post today about one of his trophy trucks that wrecked, lost all steering, and the guy didn't just say, "Hey, you know what? Fuck it. Power steering pumps fail sometimes." The guy like dissected the entire thing, took the ball bearings out, sent them back to the original manufacturer, did a deep dive on the material and all this kind of shit, and put out a very thorough report on why that his power steering pump failed. Like pages. It's just impressive. I'd say it's still kind of a young company. I don't know. He started shortly after we did, after iRate did, but he's doing awesome. And just to see that caliber of research into a failed product and explanation was pretty awesome. So I'll definitely be buying and supporting him with getting his product on here. It's just awesome support to see. But anyway, I don't know if you guys got anything else or anything else you want to see or any ideas for the site. This could just be the time where we sit and drink. Now's the
We're
time
there.
on Sprockets when we dance. I should have wore that outfit since I got a German vehicle. Of course, I would just watch the views tank. Negative 10 viewers. How the hell did you get negative 10 viewers?
Austin, you going to pick up that Unimog that's out here by me?
Oh, that orange one in California?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to. Timing's not good for it, but as the more I've been researching and reading about these things, the more I like them. I'm like, when you start seeing those kinds, it's like you want to leave it for somebody to fix and actually restore. But I would love to have the rear. There's like a dozen parts on there I'd love. This bed right here, these frame mounts, the reason they're hard to get is because they're from the box, the Unimogs with the boxes on the back, the radio boxes or the ambulance boxes. They're made to keep those flat and straight. So before I finally scored these, some guy actually sent me these for free. I would have loved to have the rest of the underside structure of that box but it ruins the box when you take them off. Love to have the knuckles for the rear axle. It has a PTO on there too. That'd be nice to hang on to just in case. Or, I'm sorry, not the PTO. Oh yeah, it does have a PTO on there. I'm not sure if that has crawler gears on it or not. That's another thing that is on here that I did manage to score. That was pretty cool. Kind of a rare part. This extra box that bolts on the bottom down here is two more gears for the for crawler gears. And fuck, I should have looked it up. It's just absolutely insane how low it is. You can literally get outside of this thing and have a beer and it'll move like 2 feet. Definitely made more for tractor type shit. But neat to have on there. I'll have to make, now that that extra box drops down so low, I'll have to put some kind of skid plate there too. Which will have to go
It's
from
always a challenge.
this pivoting
More
mount
tracking.
forward. So that way it doesn't mount to the frame. So that's the hard part about mounting so much shit on here is everything like the exhaust and all that has to be attached to the drivetrain somewhere so it can still pivot, not get ripped off by the frame.
So how do they do with all of the loading through the drivetrain, since everything's basically floating off the engine and the transmission mounts? Since you're only mounted in the front, you get a lot of torsional and vibrational load through like the bell housing.
Yeah, there's the in the back as far as dampening, you mean? Sorry, I had to get back over towards my speaker. I think I heard
No,
part of
you're
that.
good.
But yeah, in the rear, it's hard mounted to this pivot here. And in the front, there's a bit of a bushing in these bolts here, but that's about it. There's not much for vibration dampening.
Huh.
Well, you know, they're Mercedes engines. They run, they're smooth enough. You could do a circumcision in the back of the car and not worry about hurting anything. Do some surgery. Kidding. I don't know. I'm excited to hear this thing start up. I bought it off a guy up in Iowa. He works for a company. There's a company in Little, not Muscatine. I forget the name of the city it came from, but they restore Land Rover Defenders, G-Wagons and stuff. So he had it in his G-Wagon. It ran really well, but he got rid of it to he didn't have this pump on there. He wanted more power, but he didn't put that pump on. He went to a 606 for a lot more power. A lot of drifters and stuff like that will get the Mercedes 606 because it's incredibly strong diesel, and you can get them up to 500 horse with, not a lot of money. And now that I finally got this thing all in and mounted and all the custom shit I had to do to make it work in there, some guy just dropped a 606 for sale, a little over 500 horsepower locally. And it's hard to not want to jump on that. But problem with that is all the intake and everything's flip-flopped, and I feel like I'm so far behind on this. As much as I'd love to have that extra horsepower and all that, even though I don't know what 200 horsepower feels in here, I still feel like I need it. But
I'm gonna
it'd be
send
nice,
you.
nice to drop that in there.
I'm gonna send you an Instagram link. I think it's one of those 606s, and it sounds like an F1 car.
Yeah, they sound badass. I'll post the link to this this one. It's for sale. It sounds mean. I mean, the throttle response on it is just insane for a diesel.
Oh yeah, that's got to be like the same thing I saw then. Yeah, you could use one of those.
Just buy it.
It'll be
It's only
3
time.
more years before I fucking get anywhere. I really want to
Right.
make it to Hammers for the 20th. Oh, I know the other thing I got to do. So you can see on this side, this is where the shock mount was. This is the top of the shock mount right there that went back to the axle. I'm hoping to maximize. They weren't very long shocks, and also on this side, I had to cut off that shock mount since I had to move all the pedal system over. I'm gonna have to protect that somehow, but I'm probably gonna have to do and I've seen some pictures of it. I'll post them in my build thread of people who have done the cantilever suspension. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to engineer and do that as well.
Oh boy.
At least for the front, I'll have enough room to put some shocks up in the back with as high as the bed goes. Might be kind of neat to have them, but that's not uncommon. There's people who have shoehorned small V8s in these, and they've had to do the same thing. So it's not something. It's not nothing groundbreaking, but just more work to figure out. And that's honestly something I've never done either. Is designed some kind of shock package from scratch. I've always had Jeep, so I just buy, get on the manufacturer's site and look up what to buy. So that may be another type of show to do with some kind of shock manufacturer. Maybe I can get me a nice black and yellow King hat along with some King shocks.
We wish.
That'd be cool.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so this is where the back of the cab was, right here. This is because this would mount to the back. This big ass hole right here is just, I don't know why, but they set it up so you could check the transmission fluid from the inside.
Just to get rid of your beer cans.
Yeah, right.
You just drop the empties through.
Right. I'm gonna have to put some kind of what's it, sacket trash bag right there on the side. Just to dump them out there. Oh, I did. Speaking of beer cans, I mean road sodas. Oh shit, I took it off. Seems kind of a pain to put on with one hand. Hang on a second. There we go. That's how much extra space I got now. So I'll have a nice little soda holder right there.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nice.
That's the real question. How many cup holders is that thing going to have?
True. That's very important. I'm probably gonna have a couple. Thought about making a little mini little ice cooler right here. I should have pulled it down to put up there, but so on the factory Mogs, this is how you fill the radiator. There's like the overflow comes up here. It's a big copper container there that runs down to the radiator. So I'm probably going to cut that in half and flip it open because it goes down about 6 inches and sticks up about 4. So I'll be able to throw a little bit of ice in there and maybe make a little cooler, something, or just a glove box.
Even just a glove box? Throw your wallet and your phone in there?
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
Okay, since this was it was an ambulance model, up in those boxes there's actually like a little table that folds out in here. I don't know what I'd put on that. Probably my Garmin nav for the races,
That'd be sick.
I don't think I have too much else. Unless anybody has any questions, but most of the stuff is on the website. Check on the chat here. So really, there's Forerunner, Curtis is Forerunner, yeah. I almost need two. I think this will work a little smoother when somebody else is doing their night in the garage in the shop, and I'm running the actual computer. I'll be able to read that kind of shit off to the person who's doing the recording, so that way it's a little bit easier back and forth on the Q&A type stuff. Probably could have invited a buddy over to read those off to me, but I didn't think about that.
Well, it's growing pains, right?
What's that?
Growing pains.
Growing pains, exactly. So I had like I said, I brought all this shit out here just to do this. I had it all set up and testing earlier. It was fine. The audio was working on my phone. Unhooked everything, brought it out here, and I don't know. I need an IT guy to get stuff figured out.
Nice.
Don't
Yeah,
worry. The
hopefully
next time we'll
everything's-
go 10% smoother. There'll still
What's
be
that?
shit that needs to get figured out.
Well, I'll be able to. So yeah, when other people do it, I'll be able to run it from my normal office, and it should be a lot easier.
The folks that are on YouTube, can they hear this commentary?
They should be able to.
I
Okay.
think everyone just heard that peacock fucking hollering in the background.
Yeah, they're getting ready for sleep.
Yeah, that's the other hard part about this is going all the way across country. Like I was thinking, Grendel's got some cool projects he's working on right now, but he's East Coast, so you guys would have to, if you're wanting to get on the live, would have to tune in as soon as you get off work. But I think we'll start recording these and start putting them on YouTube just for people to catch up on later. And like I said, if we get some of the guys that do racing to get on there, like if you look at Pitbull Cruiser, his truck, he's always posting stuff on there. His son's racing now, which is pretty awesome to see. His name's Hunter. He's a rad little kid. If they did a show together, it'd be neat for them to be able to post up on there, talk about some of the people. I think I'm not sure. He just picked up a new sponsor. I'm not sure if Trail Rig what extent their sponsorship is, but as much shit as he's bought from them, he definitely deserves some good love from them. But it'd be good to record these, put them up live, and just for other people to find on YouTube and help them out. And, those guys have a shitload of boxes they check to do sponsorship type stuff.
Yeah,
So-
talk to
Can you put it
John.
down in your
John
section
or
where
Sean
like snail
Rants,
trails
too.
at?
What's that?
I was gonna say, talk to Sean or John Rants, Junior 4X, because they do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they've been in the game for so long. So
Yeah, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here, but I got some cool stuff to announce coming up about sponsorship and helping those guys. Not some people that were kind of going to help us out and help our racers out a lot, mostly. So I'm excited to announce that, and this is another kind of step in that direction while we're doing this as well.
you're doing a lot of really good stuff for the off-road community. All I can say is that we really appreciate you, and we really appreciate the place that, to bring it back online and bring it kind of back to what it was. The pirate community was always awesome, but I think Irate has helped re-envision that for this generation. I mean, a lot of us older guys remember those days, but it's been great.
Yeah, I mean, selfishly, it's been a shitload of fun on my end too. So I was on Pirate forever, probably one of the more quiet people, just because the West Coast wheelers always are ahead of us mud guys here in the Midwest. But we're always told to get on there and ask your questions, shut up, and just accept whatever response you get. So no, it helped us out a lot. So yeah, no, I'm happy to do it. I'm glad people are getting something out of it. So I think there's a shitload more stuff we could do. It's just time, basically. But now that it's really starting to take off and people are starting to come back, it kind of gives you that incentive to keep taking those dives and trying different things.
It's definitely a community. It takes everybody to participate in some way or another.
Yeah, definitely does. I want to start getting. I know there's a lot of Ultra 4 love on there. King of the Hammers love, and understandably, because those guys were on Pirate so much, and that thing kind of started there with Lance and them out in the desert. doing their shows. It started before that, but you know what I mean. I want to get some more of the rock crawl and the we rock and those guys. I need to figure out some way to draw those guys in there too. I think hopefully some of the sponsorship stuff that we have rolling out shortly will hopefully draw in a lot more people, a lot more racers. And with
It
more
should help.
racers
It
comes,
should help everything grow for sure.
yeah, well, it'll definitely help grow. More people want to come and see their stuff. I understand why, like the Ultra 4 guys and their super secret sneaky shit they're doing don't want to post that stuff up there, but like King of the Hammers and Ultra 4, the EMCs, that class is my class. I like those guys the best. Those guys just sitting there getting off work and busting their ass trying to figure out how to get their shit done and to the racetrack. Those guys aren't doing anything. So some are doing ultra secret, sneaky stuff. I don't want to be downplay anybody, but those are the guys that I see sharing more on the forums, probably the We Rock kind of guys too. So it's always fun to see that stuff and drool over their shit.
One thing that like I never saw much of even on the pirate days was like the mud racer or mud swamp guys. Like I don't know if there's tech in that world or not, but just never see much on that side of the planet.
Oh, like the mud guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from what I remember back in the days of pirate, you were just absolutely ridiculous and you don't even know what the hell you're doing if you're in the mud.
That
That's
is true.
they tried to come through and then they got chased out.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, we can't all be on the West Coast. All I can say is that, being on the West Coast, there's a lot of available wheeling, but it's not countrywide.
Yeah.
You have to play to your audiences. And there's a lot of mud out there. There's a lot
There
of
is. Yeah, I have no problem bringing them on here. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I like to see. My first Jeep that I bought, actually I didn't buy it. The girl I was dating at the time bought it for me as a surprise. Bought it some redneck about another hour west of here. They do mud bogs out in the country, and it was a CJ5. It had 35-inch. I don't remember what the width was. I want to say they're almost like 9 inches or something. Just really tall and skinny, ridiculous for the little Jeep. And had an AMC 360 in there with a cam and stuff, and it was just absolutely stripped and was meant to do absolutely nothing but go straight and fast. And it's kind of fun to see how those guys harden up the suspension and the stuff they did, or maybe I just got a cheap guy that built my rig. But I mean, it is a totally different world, and there's so much different shit they do. I think the only people that I would probably mock and kick off for these guys who do they'll take like a brand new diesel truck and lift it fucking 6 feet in the air with the ridiculous suspension and lights and all that shit underneath. I don't know what you call that style. They don't even off road them, but
mall crawler.
that's what's that?
Small car.
It's a mall crawler.
Mall crawler. Yeah. Those
Even
things
those guys.
they're neat to look at for about half a second, then it's like that's fucking a waste of a truck, in my opinion.
As I've learned with every like little thing that I've like looked into over time, it's a fucking rabbit hole. Whether it's underwater basket weaving or rock crawling or the mud guys. Like you start talking to them and listening, and it's like, oh yeah, you got to do this because this and that because that.
Yeah.
Sure. Even those show truck guys have, not that we care at all, but I'm sure they have 2 hours worth of shit to tell us.
Oh yeah. I feel like they probably got just as much in their rigs as some of these race rigs, if not more. By the time they go
They
through
have
and
more in their
chrome
powder
and
coating.
dip all that shit, and yeah.
Yeah, for something that'll never see dirt.
Yeah.
Oh no, they'll shit their pants if it sees dirt. Trying to figure out how to get back to my desktop camera here. Yeah, maybe I'll just kill this unless anybody else has anything else to see. Nothing too crazy or spectacular, really. But
Where did you do
considering
the cut line on your cab?
what's that?
Where did you do your cut line on your cab?
Oh, in a fuck it, let's do it spot.
Straight across.
I threw a laser on it. Hang on a second. Threw a laser on it and picked a line.
What's for dinner? I'm hungry.
What's that? Sorry, I didn't hear you say. But I just put a laser line on it. And I went as close behind the hatch as I could. Realistic. I put these big cross braces in there, about quarter inch apart, and then ran the cut right between them to make sure everything stayed the same shape. But realistically, what I should have done, I'm gonna fall. Hopefully, you guys can see me on that other camera before I die. Look at this. This is when Austin died, walking on a fucking Unimog and Crocs. What I should have done is I should have come up here. I should have brought the line up here, went up there, came around and went back over. Because you can see it, I kind of hard to see with that drywall behind it. It's got a bit of a dip in there from where it came down a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's not terrible.
Dude, you're
Nothing
going to
that a
struggle
little-
with it anyways.
What that?
Doesn't matter if you put the curve in it or not.
Yeah.
They all shrink so much. Mine did. Like you can
Not to
kind of
mention,
see
by the time
it
this thing
there.
actually sits on wheels and tires, you're not gonna fucking see the top of it anyway. That's my next problem.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get a decent. Oh, I got that cover on. That's a sliding door on the other side of this cover here, and it blows around in the wind. So in the winter, I put up plastic and a bunch of those big painters things for a little insulation. But that header comes down pretty damn low. You know, I don't have a whole lot of room to get this thing out of here.
Shit.
I did see some of the rigs at Hammers this year. We're all rocking these new I forget the name of them off the top of my head, but I got a bookmark. They're these bright orange ass wheels. They're made just to roll vehicles on trailers, inside of trailers. So, and they're really not that much, but they're just really thin and have just a smidge of rubber around there. So I'll probably have to get a set of those just to get this thing in and out. But
I've seen those transport tires.
yeah, I forget the name of them. Like I don't remember seeing them there before, but this year, or maybe just because I saw one set and kept an eye out, but I saw a dozen of them at least. Oh, a dozen rigs, I mean.
Yeah,
they
tires
3D
tires
printed?
are getting so big that nobody can get them in trailers without swapping sets on them.
Right. Yeah, they are. I actually just got rid of my 42 sit really nice on this. I like the way it looked. I just got rid of them. Spent a whole night getting these 3-piece bead locks off there. These Stas Works. These are really nice. They're heavy as hell. That was a cool story. I helped him build a website, Stas Works, and he sent me those, and they arrived before my first trip to King of the Hammers, and I didn't have time to mount them or anything, so I threw them on there. Went out to Pilot's house. I stopped at his house in Nevada. Member on the board, Pilot.
Yep.
I got there late, and we fucking fought those things till like 2 or 3 in the morning. I'd have to ask him how late it was, but went there, got them on, crashed for a hot minute, and kept going to Hammers. But with this new system here, these are more the trophy truck bolt pattern. So those will be out the door already.
They're that was that 6.5 6 on 6.5? Is that the
Yep,
trophy?
exactly.
Trophy? Yeah. Okay.
I really like one of the vendors on our site is Battleborn wheels. Those things are just dead sexy. So I'd like to get a set of those on here. But I need to get all this shit converted and mounted up to figure out what kind of back spacing and stuff I need. I was kind of waiting to do it until I got the outers for there. But I may just redo this axle. One of these boxes up here is nothing but a full rebuild kit for these axles. luckily there are places. There's a place called Expedition Importers in California, and that guy brings in all kinds of Mog and Pinzar, if I'm saying that right, vehicle parts. So he's kind of the go-to source at one of those sites. You got to check like once a week to see what kind of new shit you get in. But luckily, he's able to supply a complete rebuild kit for these axles. So that'll be a fun project. Yank those things out and got some big ass jacks to set them up on and rebuild those and figure out what kind of back spacing I need.
You gotta pull your irate internet weight and try and talk to Dirt Lifestyle Nate
Oh yeah,
up in Washington.
yeah.
He I just saw it. Well, it was a while ago now, but he did that same thing. He got the rear steer parts and
Right.
did all that. He's got the hookups. Talk to him.
Yeah, I'll have to reach out to him. I got the so there's a Mercedes forum, and there is a Mog section in there, and I got some of those guys together and one of the Unimog groups on Facebook. We're having some basically kingpin bolts made to go. Pointing the wrong way. Nobody wants to see me. To go down in here. These ones that are in here, the way the Germans designed this, it's a weird grippy pin thing, and if the wheel spends too much time off the ground, they can come unlocked basically. So this guy's going to machine us basically new bolts, flathead bolts. It'll go in there. It'll be real nice. So just trying to get enough people together to buy those, or to make it worth the machinist's time to make them. That's the other thing I'm waiting for. But getting there, slow and steady, just like a Unimog.
Oh yeah.
Let me drop this off if nobody's got anything else.